What's happening, everybody? I'm back. Welcome back to the Moment with Moesghetti podcast. It is I, your hostess with the mostesses, your auntie, sister, cousin, best friend, always coming with the realness, Moesghetti herself. Where the clap at? Hold on. It's been a long... There you go. Just because I got the buttons in front of me does not mean I remember where they are, because it has been 2, 3, what?
You haven't
December,
this year.
January, February. It's been 3 whole months since I have been in front of this mic to bring you a moment with Moesghetti, and I needed this break. I needed a moment to, first of all, I needed a moment to get my Christmas show off, which was fantastic. And then I needed a moment to go through the month of January, which was fasting and consecration, so I can be to myself. And then February, I don't know where it went. It just flew by. But here we are. It is the first Sunday in March, and we back at it again. So this is your mental health and spiritual wellness podcast with me, Moesghetti. Goodness. So today's episode, do I have any? Let me gather myself. Let me gather myself, because it's been a while since I've been with you guys, and I truly miss being on this mic. I miss being in front of the camera. I miss being in the studio. By the way, I gotta pause for the cause to give a shout out to the Tone Deaf Network and Tone himself, my producer, and holding down the fort in this studio and just providing a space for the people in Milwaukee to come on and express themselves in the way they see best fit. If you got an idea and you got some time to come on and execute it, he got the space for you and the equipment. So yeah, I'm back, and it's been a fantastic break. It's been a refreshing break. I feel good. I feel way less stressed than the last time I was here. And so we're going to do what we do. We're going to start off with church announcements. I ain't got none. Amen. I don't have any this week. Because I decided that this episode was going to be in place to help you guys get more acquainted with me, or reacquainted with me if you are unfamiliar with me. And I realized that at the beginning of Moment with Moesghetti, it honestly didn't even start off as a podcast. I just decided that I wanted my thoughts and my voice to be heard more. And so I started reading affirmations. And then it turned into me just wanting to share some of the things that I encounter in my daily life, through my profession, through my personal studies, through my own self-help and development. And I just got on the mic and just started talking. I just got in front of the camera and just started talking. I just got on the live and just started talking. And it took off from there, and it grew into this official status of actually being a podcast, actually being something worth watching, actually being something worth doing. And so because I just jumped into it, I haven't really given you guys who don't know me personally an opportunity to get to know me. So today's episode is allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Mo, and I have my producer here who's going to ask me some questions. We're going to do an official interview as if this is like my first podcast, so y'all can know who I am, what I'm about, what I have going on in my life. And I guess, I don't know what he's going to ask me. We did not go over show notes ahead of time. We had time, but even if I did go over the questions ahead of time, our good friend Tone, he wasn't going to tell me anyways. He wasn't going to tell me anyways if I asked. So, I guess I'm just going to hand it over you, Tone, and you can ask the questions. Now, what the people want to know.
There are going to be a lot of all over the place questions.
I'm here for it.
I just want your honest opinion on all of them.
Okay.
I try not to get too personal, but that's just not my nature.
I mean, you can get personal if you want to. I can always just not answer.
Oh, my questions get personal, but they don't be, what's that word I'm looking for? Like intrusive.
Okay.
Make sense?
Okay.
All right. So let's start with the most important question that a lot of people who listen to my network ask. Where did your name come from?
The name Moesghetti,
Yes.
it actually has a fantastic story. So you know how you just be getting nicknames when you a kid, you just accumulate them. At least I
Yes.
am a person who accumulated a lot of nicknames when I was a kid. So
Okay.
my name is Monique. That is my name. And so everybody called me everything Mo this, Mo that, Mo the other.
Mo to the
Yeah, I got that one a lot too. And so I have a church member, one of my church mothers really, who from as long as I can remember always called me Moesghetti. Where did Moesghetti come from? You're gonna have to ask her that. But she used to always call me Moesghetti. It's just something she called me all the way growing up. And so I just always answered to it. And when I got older and I was trying to get on the internet and stuff and come up with a screen name that was had some unique value to it,
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna use Moesghetti.
How do you even spell that?
That is why I did not use
like, how do you spell that?
Moesghetti, because I had no idea how to spell Moesghetti. But I have another church member who, for whatever reason, started calling me Moesghetti instead of Moesghetti. She got a bit of a lisp. I love her, but you know, Moesghetti, it did. Yeah. So she called me Moesghetti. So I'm sitting there on Twitter,
Okay.
because this is where this was. Sitting there on Twitter, trying to figure out my Twitter handle. I want to be Moesghetti, but I can't spell it. But I can spell Moesghetti. And I typed it in. I even Googled it. And ain't no other Moesghettis like
That's
anywhere
not even a real word.
ever. Right. But you know, people be making stuff up. But I didn't know how to spell Moesghetti. And so I went with Moesghetti. And honestly, I don't even tweet. It just sat there dormant for a number of years as my screen name. Eventually I got an Instagram and I was like, I'll use Moesghetti over here. And I want to say a year ago, when I started performing, I started performing under Moesghetti. I guess I jumped ahead a bit because the I jumped ahead a bit because the podcast actually and going live and my second Facebook page took on the name Moesghetti before I started performing in real life as Moesghetti. Now, me as really embracing the name and the identity of Moesghetti didn't happen until I started performing under that name.
Okay.
Once I started doing poetry under that name, which has only been about a year, then it really took on a lot more personality. But really, it just started off as a childhood nickname that I couldn't spell, that I thought was unique enough to use, that I thought sounded pretty cool. And as I've navigated, I've gotten that feedback a lot. Moesghetti, that's a cool name. That's a cool name. Where did that come from? And yeah, it just came from a childhood nickname that evolved into almost a whole personality.
Okay. Since this is a healing and mental health podcast,
Yes.
How is your mental health today?
You know, I feel great.
Okay.
I feel great. I feel clear today.
I noticed.
I feel I'm getting comfortable because now I'm taking off all my jewelry. Yeah, I feel good. I feel clear. I feel centered. But I was intentionally centering myself for today, really starting last night.
Okay.
I've got pretty well developed mental health practices. Do I attend to them every single day? Absolutely not, because I'm a human being. Like,
Okay.
what you mean? But I'm in a really good space. I'm really excited about a lot of things in my life.
Like what?
Oh, goodness. I have a bunch of endeavors that I'm excited about unrolling across the year that I will not be sharing all of them right now. But y'all will definitely get to know them as time goes on. But really, it's just a combination of me solidifying all of the things that I do and bringing it in so I can do them more effectively and building a team around myself. So one of the things is definitely growing the podcast, reaching a larger audience, becoming more clear about what my focus of this space is.
Mm-hmm.
I know what it's for. It's to spread awareness about mental health. It's to spread awareness about spiritual wellness. It's to build community, but really developing some more markers on what that looks like. So I'm really excited about that. I have some plans that are already in motion. I have some plans that I'm be working with some people about. Tone, we gonna be talking about that some more too. So
as long as it's not the end of March.
The end of March.
Yeah, I'm off the table.
Oh no, We'll talk. um, but yeah, so I'm really excited, but I'm very nervous about everything to come at the same time. So I spend a lot of time just kind of centering and grounding myself so that I am not as fearful walking forward in my life right now, but also I'm in a do it afraid phase a little bit too. So my mental health for the most part as well. I take care of myself on multiple fronts, and today is a really good day. I'm
Okay,
happy.
I see. So, question for the listeners who do not know you:
Okay.
are you single? Because it's been 3 months, so things could have changed.
It has been 3 months since I've been in the studio. I was single then, and I'm more single now.
How are you? That means you left some people back in 2023.
That means that I'm prioritizing myself and I'm entertaining things differently than I was in 2023.
Okay.
Um, I I don't know. I just don't choose to entertain the same type of options as I did before. And that kind of came out of taking time for myself
Mm-hmm.
to really get to understand who I am and what I want.
Wisconsin winter will do that to you.
Wisconsin winter will do that to you. But yeah, I'm very single. I'm very interested in and excited about dating.
Hmm.
So I ain't that single. I ain't that single where I'm like, I'm just focused on me and me alone. No, I'm focused on me all the time to take
Okay.
care of myself and to be a good partner.
All right, let's stay here for a minute.
Okay.
So, what does it mean to truly be honest with yourself in the context of dating and relationships? Then,
Oh goodness, because we I say all the time that there is a difference between what people say they will tolerate and what people actually tolerate.
mm-hmm.
There's a difference between what values we actually have and which ones we really the values we say we have and which ones we stand on. And so being honest with myself is a matter of being honest with what standards I've been standing on and which ones I haven't been.
Okay.
And being honest with myself in the not standing on my standards at the same time too, to make a determination of whether or not that's actually my standard or not.
Okay. Well, have you ever struggled with being honest with yourself about your own interest or level of interest in someone while navigating all this?
Absolutely.
So, how? Like, give us an example. Like, when have you really
Oh,
struggled?
I struggled. Um, I guess it's about being in denial when I like somebody, but they aren't who I
Equally
need.
yoked?
They aren't who I need them to be.
Okay.
It ain't even about always being. I mean, it is about being equally yoked. Um, but I value communication in my
Hmm.
relationships. And I've had relationships in the past where I've communicated with people and they've communicated back to me that at this time in their life, they are not or cannot be what I want or need. That I've had people in the past who've told me, yeah, I ain't good enough for you. And I've been like, nah, we can make it work. But trying to make it work with somebody who is explicitly telling you that they are not in the position to work with you or to be with you, it's something that you just gotta eat.
Okay.
And compromises get made when you're afraid of being, or not even afraid of being lonely, just tired of being lonely. Because I'm not afraid of being right.
You
Because
gotta
I'm not
forgive me. I
afraid of being
said
alone. I be single all the time. But I
single and
get
being alone are two different things, though.
mm,
Those are two different things. I mean, we as humans, we tend to group a lot of stuff together just because they're similar, but the effects on you are different.
I be tired of being without a romantic partner or a romantic interest
Okay.
because there are sometimes long sense of time where I have been without a romantic interest even. So if somebody come along and they hit a couple of markers, I might be like, ooh, I like you enough.
Let me ask you a question. Are
Yes.
you upfront with that? Or are you just throwing the hints and allowing them to figure it out? Like,
That
do
I
you,
like them.
yeah, like, do you like, I like you, I want you, let's see where this can go? Or are you one of those, like, he kind of a girls?
I, I have definitely been stare at you across the room and notice me, girl.
Notice me, senpai.
Yeah. I am less that because again, communication matters.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even want to remotely be in the position of men with the anxiety of the expectation of approaching people first, like that. And so I am a lot more open and upfront about when I like somebody, or at least I try to make it obvious by interacting with them, talking to them, smiling at them. I'm getting a handle on this flirting thing. Okay, I was anti. I'm still kind of anti flirt,
Why are you
but
anti-flirt?
I'm anti things that I don't find a lot of utility in. And for me, flirting, if you don't like me for real, like if you don't want to get my number or take me out on a date or nothing, then why are we staring at each other having this conversation? Like,
Maybe that person's not in a position to be able to do that at this moment.
okay, then
You don't want tax time pimping, but you also don't want to, leave your blessing on the table because he's in between checks right now.
okay, but like, are we going to have conversation beyond that moment of flirtation?
That's
Are
up,
we going to have interaction beyond that moment?
that's
Because
up to you. Well, I'm not going to say that's up to you, but just taking consideration, just as you are nervous about flirting,
uh-huh.
an individual might be as well too. Not every man has the gift of it. Not everybody's me. Okay, I
Not
had to
everybody's
remind
tone.
myself that I'm a very oral person, so I can talk in any situation and scenario, but not everybody is built like that.
Yeah.
So sometimes we tend to expect greatness from the other person when we're not great ourselves at it. So we got to give people the benefit of the doubt. So that guy,
But if you're flirting with me, though, a
are
person,
they flirting with intent?
I think that's the issue. I don't
Okay.
necessarily like flirting without intent. It feels empty. But I'm getting better, but it still feels empty.
Because some people flirt without intentions. Like I have been notoriously been told that I flirt when that was never my intentions to flirt. I'm just a conversationalist.
Mhm.
So I can understand how that can be taken. For an example, if we're having a conversation and something about you stood out to me in that moment that I think is dope, I'm going to acknowledge it.
Mhm.
I'm not saying it because I want to see you later on in the week. I might just haven't acknowledged it in that moment because that's just what I felt like doing. And
Mhm.
it can get you in trouble.
Mhm.
But do you actually have conversations about being loved correctly?
Yes, a little bit.
Okay.
I recently had somebody a couple months ago actually at this point ask me, how do you want to be loved?
That is a beautiful question.
And when they asked me that,
You didn't know how to answer it.
I got so stuck. I got so stuck I was disappointed in myself for getting stuck in
It's
that
not a
moment.
question we're prepared for. We're not naturally prepared in today's society to tell somebody how to love me because we then immediately think if they start doing it, it's a manipulation tactic, not
Mhm.
them genuinely trying to help you reach happiness.
Mhm.
So, how do you like to be loved?
I
Here's your second chance to make a first impression.
This is my second chance to answer that question.
Yes.
How do I like to be loved? Um, I like to be considered. Um, I I have a lot going on, and the way that I like to be loved is the person actually just paying attention to what I have going on and paying attention to me and
Okay.
helping me take care of myself really. Um, and so sometimes that means spending time with me. Sometimes that means getting me something to eat when I ain't got time for it or when I'm doing too much. Sometimes that means telling me I need to sit down and take care of myself. Um, I am I'm well loved in my circles. Like my people, my family and my friends, they love me good.
Okay.
They take very good care of me. They support me. They listen to me. They're very present for me in intangible ways. The piece that I am missing in my love atmosphere is a romantic love in which we can, do physical romance stuff, hold hands, kiss and stuff.
Oh, that's childish,
It is childish and I
but
want
it's
it.
necessary. No,
And
a lot
I want it and I like it.
a lot of our inner children need love because they didn't get it the way they wanted to when they were being kids. So a lot of times we do look for that in our mate to still
Yeah.
allow our inner child to heal.
Yeah.
But you bring up something that I wanted to ask a question. How much does your circle play a factor in your decision making when finding your romantic interest?
A lot and none at the same time. No,
Everything
be-
and nothing at the same time.
everything and nothing at the same time. They play a big factor because I want somebody that loves my village, that fits with my village,
Okay.
um, that is capable of receiving love in my village, and preferably brings a loving village of their own so we can combine them efforts. Um, I feel like I'm an understanding individual, and so are my people. And so if there are things about you that they are concerned about, um, then I'm going to take their considerations pretty heavily, because for the most part they stay out of my business, especially my romantic life. Um, and if they have problems with you, then I take that heavily into consideration, because it could be a blind spot on my behalf. Because they are so loving and considerate, it is important, because I don't want to give up my village for one individual. I would prefer that we become a larger village together. So they're very important. And I feel the same about whoever I'm connected with. I want to be able to fit into their lives and their village. I would prefer that they come from a healthy family. If they don't, that they've done their healing around that, or they're working on it. So I would like to say that their opinions don't matter, because I'm grown and I do what I want. But I love these people, and they love me for real, and they want to see me be happy and healthy and well. Um, and if there's somebody in my circle that is not contributing to me being happy, healthy, and well, then it's a problem. Because when you enter my village, like, we all poor, and I'm
Oh
expecting
my!
you to be a part of that.
I don't want everybody to be poor.
No, we all pour into one another.
Oh, okay, poor. I was like,
Oh no, not poor. No, we rich.
we all poor. Like, goddamn.
Oh no, 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 no.
Can you report today?
No, 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 no.
Look,
We all contribute.
and
We
I'm glad you
all
said that.
show up.
So, have you ever had a trauma bond?
Oh, a trauma bond
I told you, fam. I'm gonna ask the questions you don't
with a
expect.
romantic partner.
Yes.
Let me think about it. Probably yes. Probably trauma bond.
How'd you
Define trauma bond.
define trauma bond? Is when a past experience that is traumatic to you, that individual either can personally relate to it, so y'all, I don't want to say suffer together, but
We'll commiserate.
it's a commonality that you build your friendship relationship on top of,
Mhm.
or this individual has what's needed to heal you from that particular bond. So let's use as an example, um, you didn't have a father figure. I don't know about your parental life. I just know you always talk about your mom.
Mhm.
So didn't have a father figure in your life, but you see this young man who is a great dad to his kid, and he has fatherly instincts about him that resonate. Therefore, because of this, you kind of
Connect.
connect to him because he gives you those daddy vibes outside the bedroom. Got to emphasize that this day and age.
Yeah. So I would say the closest thing to that would you kind of described the situation a little bit.
I have a the reason why I use that
Yeah.
one as an example because that is a very
Very
common
common.
one.
It's not so much that I saw him being a good father figure. It's that this person I'm thinking of in particular um saw that I had a hole in my life for attention and affection, and um filled it, and to the point where I couldn't see how detrimental that they were for me. Um and they framed it like we had something special, but really it was really a narcissistic relationship.
Well, you see, it ends up being that's why I went that direction
Right.
with it.
It's very much so a narcissistic relationship. Um and I felt confined in it because they did the whole, isolating you from your family, friends, all of that stuff. Uh and thank God that I had the ability to like I went to college, so I had the physical ability to be away from that situation,
Mm-hmm.
and then being surrounded by the community that I built when I was in school
Helps you
to
understand it
right,
better.
and the self-worth that I built from all of the things that I was doing at school helped me see the disparities between myself, the person I know I am, and the person that they were trying to convince me that I was, or the limitations that they were trying to put on my life, or the possession they were trying to have over me. It just didn't fit.
Right.
And so when I kind of matured, came into myself and came against um them and their influence, and really like stood up in my own personhood, that it was met with
Resistance, of course.
resistance, hostility, and that's when I got to see their abusive tendencies in an overt form, and it fell apart from there.
Okay.
Because I have a really like, and they knew this about me, that when it comes to like domestic violence, just like overt abuse, it's a real easy switch for me on that one.
All right.
You get violent with me, it's like, oh, okay, it really ain't much you can do to get me back.
Okay. So I only got two more relationship based questions.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to go into anything else because I want the people to listen to season 1 of Moments to get all
to
that
get the real
to get the rest of it. We just having fun today.
right.
But we also get a little one thing you've never talked about is relationships. So that's why it was a key factor.
Yeah, I
For
really don't do relationships on the pod too much because I haven't had really any successful ones.
damn.
Right.
Not really. You could have had one and life could have ended it. Something could have changed it.
I had one that was close to being successful, somebody who I felt like I could marry, and that he is no longer in the land of the living.
Exactly. And
So,
so that means you could have a successful one and just
but that one even had its challenges.
every relationship has challenges and I need people to stop thinking that they don't.
Yes, but there's certain challenges that you deal with and certain ones that you don't.
But that's where those boundaries come into play at.
Right.
And
I
I'm
ain't
glad
had
you said
none.
that. So how do you cope with the nightmares and fears of your partner?
Huh?
How do you cope with the nightmares and the fears of your partner?
In general.
In general. And I'm not talking about the bad dreams that you have. I'm talking about like those moments where you have to question, do I really want to be here? But you know it's not a bad thing. So, like for an example, one of the biggest things is social media has a heavy influence on how we look at relationship because everybody likes to put out the negative side of everything
Mm-hmm.
to the point where you have a whole generation of people who refuse to get married
Right.
because their fear of, well, this person is going to cheat and then we're going to get a divorce.
Right.
When if you already know that this is a fear of yours, then why don't you two work towards making sure that fear is non-existent?
Yeah. So how do I cope with the fears of my? First of all, I gotta know who is he and what is his fears, because depending on where he is in the understanding and processing of his own emotional intelligence and his own relationship fears, I might not even want to deal with that because you might be too far where you are in your thought process. Like you said, social media plays a whole big factor into what people think about relationships. And if I'm because this is from the perspective of somebody who is meeting people to date. So this, I'm not coming from the perspective of somebody who's in the relationship already.
Okay, let's start. I'll use that as an example.
Right. If I'm meeting people who are that damaged and they're like, marriage ain't for me because you gonna take half. I'm just going to not entertain that as a relationship in the first place because where you are is not somewhere I could meet.
Right.
Outside of that, again, like I said, communication is important to me. I feel like I'm a reasonable, rational individual. And so I feel like to ease their fears, if they're reasonable, we can talk about it. And I can just show up as the consistent person that I am, or try to be consistent I can show up consistent as the person that I am, as a loving, caring individual. And if that's not enough for you, then was it ever going to be? Was I ever going to be? And as far as my fears and things concerning relationships, I need you to show up and being the person that I need you to being the person who
She wants you to show
I
up.
know you to
She
be.
wants you to show up and show out.
Yeah, I do.
All right.
I
So
do.
let's pivot from this
I do.
these serious questions. Let's ask a few fun ones for the next
Okay.
15 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
I want some fun.
We're gonna
ones.
come back to serious after 15 minutes.
Nah, we gonna
Okay.
we gonna call it a day after 15. All right. What's the best show on TV right now for you? Like, what's your go-to show
right now?
right now?
Right now, I'm watching Abbott Elementary.
See, this is why we friends.
Right now, I'm
That's
watching
my
Abbott
shit.
because
That's
I
my
fell
show.
off of it. Like I started watching season 1, I watched most of it, and then I fell all the way
You're
off.
not even caught up yet?
No, I'm like a quarter through season 2. Like
Oh,
I'm
my.
well behind. And
Oh yeah, you got to get on that. Fam.
yeah.
Hulu's your friend.
I know. I don't watch a whole lot of TV because by the time I get to TV in my day, I be tired and I put on stuff I can fall asleep to, but I don't want to fall asleep to Abbott Elementary. I want to actually watch it because it's good.
It's good. You can't fall asleep on Janine and Greg.
It's good. Janine just found out that Greg like her. It's so awkward. I love
They're
it.
awkward,
Oh,
but
it's
I'm not
awful.
gonna tell you nothing.
Oh, it's awful.
I'm not
Oh,
gonna
it's
tell you.
awful. Oh gosh. Oh my gosh.
But
It's
Janine likes Greg too, though.
I know.
That's the crazy part.
That's
why I can't. You gotta catch
I
it.
wanted to fight both of them when he left her outside that club.
Oh, you got that episode where she ended up going with
with his friend.
yeah.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, it's.
I'm not gonna tell you nothing,
it was
though.
Valentine's Day, and she got the Telfar bag, and then the other girl got the. Yeah, no,
You
yeah.
behind.
Yeah, I'm
Oh my
behind,
God.
and I just was like, I was so sick at that moment. I was just like, switch. Like I just, no, they made me upset. No, I know I've been Janine before. I'm like, you gotta speak up for yourself, girl. Smile or something. They could use a lesson on flirting. Cause oh my God.
That's the irony behind it. We gotta remember Janine had been with what's his name? Her boyfriend.
Tyreek.
She had been with
For
Tyreek
him, for always.
since like high school.
Since
so,
8th grade.
Yeah, so she didn't
know.
She didn't know no better.
Yeah.
And then Greg is autistic, so
I just told my son that the other night. I was like, Greg is so autistic coded that I don't know. Like
autistic.
he's
got
high
functional autistic.
Yeah.
They won't say it, but it's there.
It's there.
It's there.
The food thing is
It's
there.
just in general, it's there.
It's there.
His mannerisms, everything.
Everything is there.
Which is funny because Tyler Williams, he's a complete opposite of the way his character is. So he just does a great job.
Yeah.
Does a great job.
But yeah, I'm all into Abbott right now. I've been at Abbott for like a couple days now.
Yeah, I've been watching it since it first began.
It's so good. The writing is so good. I love it.
Quintella be on her. Yeah, Quintella.
Quinta?
Is it Quinta?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, that girl been on her stuff with this show.
Yeah, she's been writing really well for a while though. She's been funny for a long time.
Yeah, she got that show has gotten tons of awards.
And she deserves because she's been
Fun
funny
fact,
for a long time.
I don't know if you find this. I don't know if you've already found this out. But fun fact, it's actually based on an actual teacher of hers.
Yeah, she said she named the show after her favorite teacher, Miss Abbott or something.
Yeah, and what is the older black lady name on the show? I forgot that.
Shirley Ralph's character.
Yeah, that's the teacher.
Yeah,
that she's
played. Modeled after.
Yes, that's the teacher.
Yes, yeah, it's good. That's where I am right now. I'm at Abbott Elementary.
Hey, you're not wrong.
For like an hour and a half, maybe each night. Well, that's about all I can hold on to.
You're not wrong. I got.
As soon as one eye start to drift close, I'd be like, okay, it's time to go home from Abbott and put on, I don't know, Cake Wars or something.
Okay. What is the worst movie you ever saw?
The worst movie I
this is tricky because if you watch Tubi,
I don't really watch.
This is tricky because if you watch Tubi, there's a lot of them on there.
Okay, worst, like, okay. Oh goodness, I gotta think about it. Because I be turning movies off if it's that bad.
The thing about it is I've gotten to the point where I purposefully watch what's dubbed as bad movies.
I like watching what is considered a bad movie and then
Right.
like enjoying how awful it
Yeah,
is.
I think once they tell you it's a bad movie, you go into it with a different mind state.
Like I sat and watched all the Sharknadoes one day.
Oh my, I would not do that to myself. But
It was
those
a
are
time.
definitely meant to be
It
bad.
was bad on purpose.
Like a shark in a tornado alone, bad. You just
Yes, and I was in that kind of mood where I sat and watched like 3 different
I
Sharknadoes
can't do that.
at one time. Worst movie. Worst movie. Worst movie.
I hate to say this. So I have a friend who's an author,
Mm-hmm.
and one of her most popular books got turned into a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And she announced, like, me and my brother took a trip to Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
So on the ride coming back, I made him listen to the audiobook of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, because we got tired of listening to music. So by the time we made it from Atlanta to Indiana,
Mm-hmm.
he was hooked. So we done with the first book, and he's like, "Bro, what do you mean?" Like he's just ecstatic about the whole 9 yards. So about maybe a month or two later, she announced that her books, because a series of them,
Mm-hmm.
were getting turned into a movie. So we geeked about it. Can't wait to go see it. Was gonna drive to Chicago to go to the premiere and whatnot, but we didn't. So she eventually said, "Hey, it got picked up. It's on Amazon Prime, so you can go watch it." So I gave my little, $3.99 to buy the movie. Worst movie ever.
What was it?
I won't say on air because I'm still good friends with her,
Okay.
and
gotta
I
know.
think she knows that it didn't turn out well. But for some odd reason, she's still getting awards for it. So,
Oh well, it must not have been that bad then. If she
I
getting
just
awards
think
for it, I don't know. I'm still here trying to really figure out what's the
it
worst
was
movie.
bad. All right, while you
Because I
sit on
can't
that
even really think about
while you sit on that one. Speaking of books, what's the best thing you've read in the last 5 years?
in the last 5 years. I've been reading a lot within the last like 2 years.
So that still counts.
Um, the best book.
What's your favorite one?
I would say right now, um, there's this book I read. It's called Jesus and the Disinherited.
Oh my.
Right. It's by what's his name? Howard Thurman.
Okay.
And he is an individual who I actually read that book. He's an individual who was a great inspiration to Dr. King.
Okay.
And so I was just kind of going through my growth phases, and I read Dr. King letters from the Birmingham jail. Well, no, Why We Can't Wait. That was the book that came from where the letter from the Birmingham jail is. But there was as I was going through that phase of reading, I wanted to know about Dr. King, but then when I came across Howard Thurman, I already had another one of his books that somebody
Right.
given me years ago. And so as I was just kind of going through my growth process, wanting to know more about Dr. King and the way the world looked from his perspective, I was like, okay, well, let me read this book that inspired Dr. King. And apparently it's one that he carried around all the time and he really got inspiration from over years. And so it basically gave a lot of perspective of who Jesus was in his time period and, what he was up against. And it compared it a lot to the state of Black Americans in the 60s and what we were up against, or earlier, and what we were up against. And so I found it interesting because it gave me a different perspective of Jesus and how he operated in the context of his time. It gave me more perspective on how and why Dr. King was moving the way that he moved. It gave me a little bit more perspective on me, myself, and how I relate to all of these different characters.
Okay.
And how I relate to the time that I live in.
Okay.
So highbrow. And then other than that, it's like Harry Potter.
No, it's cool. And then Harry Potter. That is so like the dichotomy of that is wild, fam. Bringing up Jesus. So lately, I have been on this adventures in the Bible.
Okay.
Okay.
So have I.
Um, more so stories in the Bible that don't make sense.
Okay. Oh no. Uh-oh.
And with the help of a few other people, a lot of things now that I'm older,
Mm-hmm.
questions I would ask as a kid are now being answered,
Mm-hmm.
and at the end of the day, they don't make sense still.
All right.
um, and I try not to dive too deep into that because if I really do, I'll lose faith, which is funny as hell. Um, but what is something that you have read in the Bible that is a WTF to you?
There's a WTF.
Yes.
So I just took this trip through the Book of Psalms.
That's a freaky ass chapter, fam.
It
That's freaky ass gospel, fam.
it's a lot that happens in the Psalms. Um, and I get I it. So as I'm reading, because King David writes a lot of the Psalms.
Yes, he does.
He writes a number of them while he's like on the run.
And on shrooms.
I could believe it. Um, and I was reading, and it wasn't very far into my reading, and he asked God to knock out the teeth of his enemies, and I'm like, oh, David is a whole warlord. And so I guess my big WTF moment with going through that is how it was just constantly reiterated that David kind of was an extreme guy. And I was bringing to memory all of the other Bible stories I had read about David over the years, and because I'm just reading the Bible with a whole different context at this point in my life.
I said when you're older,
I've read it, but I'm reading it with completely different context.
Right.
And so just seeing the extreme nature of David, and the things that he did that were blessed by God, that were wild, was a bit of a WTF. Like, oh, what?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, mom. Moesghetti is on a building. Is in the building. Hey, mom.
My WTF moment was when I went back and I read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and those are
the Gospels.
The Gospels, as they tell the story of the Passion of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what these four dudes were doing, but apparently they couldn't all been at the same place at the same time.
Some of these stories, yeah.
Because some of the things that some of them said were pretty, like, that don't match with what these three just said. And why is this over here? I got to remember which one. I want to say it was Matthew. They were telling about time on the cross,
Mm-hmm.
last breath moment. And for some odd reason, during his telling of the last breath, the dead rose and came up to where Jesus was crying. And I'm sitting here, it's like, did Matthew just say they were zombies walking around?
I mean, that's what Revelation describes as zombies. We all come
right,
back,
but it was just zombies in that moment. Like in all my tellings of my boy's last days,
I'm gonna have to go back. And
zombies wasn't there.
What Bible was you reading? I'm gonna have to go back and read that.
It was James. It had to be James.
But there's a lot of wild stuff in the Bible.
There's a lot of wild. It's like just all four of their stories tell the same events, but some of them have extra. And some of them don't. Some of them
skip a whole part.
Right. Some of them was like, bro, were you outside when this happened?
I was reading Ezekiel about his hallucinations. See, and that was
shrooms. It was shrooms. I believe everybody was on shrooms.
I mean, it's a plant. I don't see why shrooms couldn't have been around from the beginning of time.
Shrooms.
We bioengineer things, but the components are still
natural,
available on Earth. So there's a lot of the Bible that when you read through it is quite wild. And I guess I have a deeper, greater understanding for how and why people are able to twist the text to fit their agenda.
Yeah, I'm not
good, bad, or other.
Right, I'm not against it, but then sometimes when you read it, you really have to kind of figure out where the story was going. Mm-hmm. Then you also have to take in consideration a lot of these stories were oral stories that were
Mhm.
handed down until written text got created. And then when it even got written down, it had to be translated.
Mhm.
So some of this may be wild as hell. The other ones just be, bro, you put a Z where a T should have went, and it changed everything.
And honestly, my opinion, the wilder the
Mama, we just answering 21
she ain't
questions,
worried about.
and I'm just asking
Oh,
randomness.
I'm talking to Tone. He's supposed to be. He interviewing me today, but he didn't want to be on camera, so I'm sitting on camera myself.
And I just decided to ask some random ones for the last few questions.
Right. But what I was gonna say is, the wilder the story, the truer I feel it is.
It probably is.
The wilder the story, the truer I feel it is.
All right.
We
I
go.
got okay. So let's get off this. 'Cause
Okay.
this could be a whole episode.
Hey,
of
we
this,
really could.
'cause
But
mama-
that's a conversation I prefer to have off
yeah,
live.
because I think differently.
I know.
If you had unlimited money to start your own business, what would it be?
Oh, unlimited money to start my own business.
Right. Now, don't break the bank, but you just what you need to start it. We ain't gonna question.
So we go. Oh, I would break the bank.
Just do it right the first time.
I feel like if I answer that question, I might reveal too much of what I'm actually planning.
Don't talk about that. Do business number 2 then.
Business number 2. If I had unlimited money to start my own business, I would buy up a whole lot of property in the city and upgrade them and build have proper maintenance for them and keep the rent reasonable. Like I would develop property. I would do property management in this city in Milwaukee, and I would do it well, and I wouldn't raise the rates as best as I could to give people humane places to live, to build up some worth in our neighborhoods. I feel like people sometimes settle for what we got in the hood because they think that this is just what the hood is supposed to be, and I would do what I could do to combat that by placing people in homes that are beautiful and maintaining the beauty in their neighborhoods. That's what I would do. Unlimited money, I'm buying the city.
Can't buy the city.
One house at a time, I can.
They gon' try to stop you.
I know, but you know, I thought we was dreaming.
I know, but you never know. This might not be a dream.
Right.
All right. When you want to give up, what keeps you going?
Oh goodness, I can't. When I want to give up, sometimes I do.
What does that look like for you?
I stop. But I just can't, it's uncomfortable for me to just settle in a life that I know is beneath me. It's uncomfortable to me to not use my gifts and my talent. And so even when I do quit and I put everything down, there's only so long before I have to pick it back up because I feel worthless. I feel useless. I feel pointless. And if I feel worthless, useless, and pointless, then what's the point of life? You know, I'm not living it. So why am I here? And so there's only so long I can go with having put things down before I have to pick them back up. And I guess, you know, it's the Holy Spirit, really. I'm always being nudged by, look at what they're doing, or look at what this is, or look who's in control of that. And, you know, I become motivated by seeing people who I know that are my intellectual equal, or not, doing things that are extraordinary. I get motivated by when I see people who are my intellectual equal or um, not doing well. You know, when I see somebody who is in a higher up position than me, and I know I can do what they do and better than they're doing it, I have a hard time just settling for less. And so I get tired. I definitely get tired. Um and I can get defeated every once in a while, but really I get motivated by that internal push to not settle. I know there's greatness in me and it's physically uncomfortable to let it be dormant. And then on top of that, you know, there's a lot of people who I have encountered across my whole life, and a whole lot of people who I've encountered lately who believe in me greatly, who see things in me beyond even what I see. And when they tell me I can do it and they support me in it, I get motivated. When people show up, I get motivated. Um, so when I want to quit, I remind myself of, or I remember, or I am reminded of all the times I did something harder. I get reminded of all the times I did something way harder than whatever it is I'm doing in front of me. And to be honest, the things that I have directly in front of me, none of them are as hard as the things that I've already done.
Okay. Okay.
None of the difficulties are as big as the ones I've escaped. So I do, and then people yell at me, or I yell at myself.
Okay.
My mom said, "You never put everything down. You always have something moving." I probably do always have something moving.
I'm mad Mama got a peach.
She moved to Georgia.
I know. I'm just saying I'm mad she got a peach.
She moved to Georgia. She's excited about it.
I'm excited for her. Social media will take it something different. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why I said I'm mad.
Mama,
All right.
mama got a peach though.
See? You didn't help. You did not help.
What's the next question?
I, I'm sick of you.
You sick of me? You supposed to be interviewing me. You can't be sick of me.
I
You
can
gotta,
be sick of
you
you.
gotta
I
ask
ain't
the next
interviewing you.
question.
All right. So to go ahead and close out tonight's question Q&A session.
We done already? Okay.
It's almost 4:30, fam.
This is fun though.
I know.
I'm fidgeting with all my jewelry.
Because I need to get you a fidget spinner.
I'm gonna lose
All
it,
right.
but continue.
What is your favorite thing about yourself?
My favorite thing about myself.
Yes.
I just asked myself this question yesterday.
I'm good at what I do.
No, you've asked me a couple of questions that okay.
I asked some questions to
My
spontaneous, but a lot of my questions were intentional.
My favorite thing about myself, I would say, is my imagination.
You do have a vivid one.
My imagination has been my best friend for a long time. In some dark spaces, my imagination done created a couple of them dark spaces, but my imagination is probably my favorite thing about myself. Because I can see things that aren't here. I can create things that don't exist. I can find things that I don't know people can't see, and it's fun, you know, to just stretch your creativity and to bring in things that aren't into reality. You know, storytelling is fun. Bringing things to life that aren't so serious.
Why so serious?
Because so much life is so serious. And then yeah, you can find your way. You can navigate around a lot of stuff if you got a good imagination.
True.
So yeah, it has practical utility, and it also just has like impractical fun. Because when I'm clowning around and me and my friends are just taking an arbitrary scenario entirely too far in our imaginations, like that's fun. Like I can crack up with my people for way too long about some rabbit hole that we done fell down in our imagination and just keep adding things to it. So my
That's life.
imagination, and it's one of those things I feel like I've always had and can't nobody take from me until I completely lose my mind and I don't know I'm here no more anyways.
That's life.
So
Life,
yeah,
liberty, and the pursuit of nuttiness.
life, liberty, and the pursuit of nuttiness. Mom answered imagination and creativity. You're gonna have to go back and watch this. Yeah, maybe.
Yes, mom. It got deep for a minute there.
For a minute, it did. It
You
did.
walked in on the. I just want to see what she gonna say. But
Yeah.
the original, the bulk of it is a pretty deep
Mm-hmm.
interview in regards to this. So since this is not my show,
Mm-hmm.
you got to close
I
yourself
gotta
out.
close myself out. My goodness. There's anything I wanted y'all to know about me that we haven't talked about today?
Go listen to
Uh
season one.
yeah, for real, go listen to season 1. Um but I take life so seriously and unseriously at the same time. And I'm really full of love. I'm full of a whole lot of love. And I want to spread it around the world. Um and I want to connect it with people who are of the like mind, to love and be loved and spread it around the world. Um, and I'm constantly discovering more and more about who I am and how that fits into the greater world. And I know that I have purpose here. And I know it's to help people. I know it's to pour into people. I know it's to use my voice um, to build folk. And I want to do that in ways that are educational, in ways that are entertaining, in ways that help us stay connected to one another, because that's all we got. We got ourselves and we got each other. And if we can make it work with ourselves, we can make it work with each other, then we can live in this world beautifully. And yeah. So with that being said, goodness, I'm so glad to be back. I'm really excited about what is to come with this podcast. I'm really excited about what is to come with my life. I have some fantastic ideas and I have some fantastic people who are fully on board with helping me execute those ideas. And I'm really excited about rolling these things out for you guys. Um, Something about being on the screen behind this mic makes me feel even bigger than what I am. Because when I'm at home, I feel humble. I feel like me. I just feel like a person. But I feel like where we're going is way bigger than me, and I'm excited about it. And I'm excited about taking y'all on the road. I'm excited about taking y'all on this journey. And I'm excited about those moments when y'all are able to encourage me back. Because it won't be easy, but it'll definitely be worth it. So with that being said, um, I'm gonna go ahead and pray us out, and then we gon' I'll see y'all next time. So if you will, dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for this day. I thank you for this opportunity. I thank you for this space. I thank you for this moment. And I just ask a special blessing over everything that is to come, that you be part of it. In Jesus' name, thank God and amen. Thank you for spending a moment with me, and I'll see you next time. Go ahead, take me out.